What's your read on the health of startups and their ability to access capital in the weeks that have followed SVB's collapse?
I think we're kind of slowly finding our norm. There's definitely ripple effects, and it's not going to reverse so quickly. People are trying to figure out the world we're living in and the normal, but at the same time, there's a lot of exciting innovation happening. There's platform shifts that we haven't seen in a long time, and investments are getting made. So it's a challenging ecosystem, but it's also still an active ecosystem.
You've been writing checks in 2023, Whom AI. I see one of them, Journey Clinical, one that you've written about and blogged about.
Yep.
This is about health, mental well-being in particular, but there is, of course, the all-important artificial intelligence sort of being layered in at certain areas, right?
Yes, absolutely. I think everyone is abuzz with AI, and for good reason. I think we're seeing opportunity and potential platform shift that we haven't seen in a long time. So layered on a complicated economic environment, there's a lot of cool stuff to be excited about.
Can you dig in as to what the layers are that we should be looking at the cool stuff? Because is it the model makers? Everyone whispering ChatGPT, and OpenAI seems to be the only company that we can really talk about. But there are the applications. It's the people with the bodies of data that these AI models can get to grips with. Who wins out here? Where is the actual money going to be made?
Yeah, I think we're in a time with as many questions and kind of opportunities to discover as we are answers to that. But the first question is, where will equity value accrue? And we know the fundamental models and the LLMs are accruing a lot of value. But over time, we believe the application layer on top, how those LLMs interface with industry and with consumer, will get really interested. There's just a question of timing and how long that takes to evolve. But we think, the consumer applications and also how AI and some of these opportunities intersect things like education and healthcare are going to provide major opportunities.
A-Life, for example, I just want to bring you in here. A-Life is one investment that Rebecca has talked about, and right. That really is an application of artificial intelligence to be able to actually increase your chances of getting pregnant. This is AI within the healthcare scene. But we start to see, in some ways, some marketing play here when it comes to AI too, right?
Yeah, that's what intrigues me, Rebecca. Do you invest in companies that are working on the underlying technology, trying to move artificial intelligence as a field forward? Or do you go to those companies that are trying to seize the technology and offer a service using it?
I think there's going to be major opportunities in both. But for us, we're really interested in that application layer and that intersection with industries, and A-Life is a great example there. When you think about how the opportunity for massive bodies of data to impact how diagnosing works, or how women can get pregnant, how you can take opportunities where people are making decisions based on individual experience and bodies of knowledge, and instead apply vast universal data sets to personalize that. You can think about how that applies to all kinds of different things, and that application layer gets very exciting.
You were a thesis-driven venture firm. How much were you paying attention to those 1,100 or so AI participants who said, time to hit pause on developing next-gen tech?
We're paying attention to that, and also a lot of the complexities here. I think, as with any technology shift, there's opportunity and there's also a lot of questions. And I think we've learned from prior technology shifts that maybe we don't ask those questions enough. And AI is one where I think we really do need to ask them, where there's going to be massive opportunity to drive value, drive personalization, and drive access. But we also have to think about the implications. I don't know if that answer is the right answer, but it's on all of us, and particularly investors, to think about the questions and the potential falls, as well as all the opportunity and value it creates.
We've been so busy, Caroline, recently uttering the words artificial intelligence. We haven't even had any time to say the words crypto and currency.
We did a bit earlier with Dogecoin on the rise. That seems to be the new Twitter theme of choice. But Rebecca, Unisquare Ventures is focused on Web3, has been very involved in the crypto ecosystem here in New York as well.
Yep.
What do you make of the hype cycle we see in AI, the hype cycle we saw in crypto, and where the valuations are playing out right now?
Yeah, look, crypto is in a challenging moment. It's hard to argue with that, and partly for some good reason. But USV's interest in crypto is really about the underlying opportunity for decentralization and what decentralization can do for innovation, technology, data, drawing back power to the individual out of platforms. And we think that opportunity is stronger than ever, just maybe not in those end tokens right now. So we think these will be cyclical and seasonal, but we're still really excited about it.
Cyclical, seasonal, where now in terms of, where are you at in terms of finding the right founder, and where are you finding that founder? You are based here in New York, but is this very much a global focus for you at the moment? Where are people building great technology?
I think one of the most exciting things that's going on is that people are building great technology everywhere. We're very excited about the New York ecosystem. We think when entrepreneurs have had a chance to choose where to live, many of them have chosen New York, even more than before, and we're excited to contribute to that growth. But the USV portfolio is increasingly global. We think teams are increasingly global, and innovation is coming from lots of different corners, particularly as technology and industry intersect, and we think that will continue.
Rebecca, we're trying to shape up the data, how 2023 is going to look relative to 2021 and 2022. Growth rounds in particular seem to go away in 2022. Your industry colleagues talk a lot with optimism about early stage. How do you be nimble in that respect?
USV is a pretty focused fund. We really focus in on seed and Series A investments and then only opportunistically go a bit later. The early innovation ecosystem, there's a lot to look for there. We talked about AI, but we talked about crypto, but there's a lot of other corners as well where technology is really driving value. So early stage, we're seeing a lot of activity. Growth stage is harder right now. You're seeing the market really clench and wait to figure out where things land. And I'm not so sure that's going to settle very soon. We think there may be, it's still a stretch ahead. So 2023 may be slow there as well.
Hey, Rebecca, you're out there in New York City with my good friend Caroline Hyde. What's it like being a VC in New York right now? What's the scene like?
New York is thriving. I think it's an exciting place to build and it's an exciting place to invest. The community is really, really strong. We are seeing lots of people come through, think that they're stopping by and wind up making it their permanent home to build companies. The talent ecosystem has grown tremendously. I think coming out of the pandemic, people felt a lot more choice about where they wanted to live, and when that happened, they love New York because New York is a fantastic city. It's not without its challenges, but it's a great place to live and to meet and to think about that intersection of how technology crosses the other ways we live. And so it's never been more exciting to be here as an investor.